I have personally have 4 or 5 men that I grew up with who committed suicide. I lived in a 9/10 of a mile cul-de-sac. In that cul-de-sac, 4 boys that I grew up with have committed suicide. Perhaps your male privilege isn't all it's cracked up to be. The Wall Street Journal seems to write an article about every 2 or 3 weeks about the masculinity crisis. 60% of all the people going to college today are female. Boys aren't going to college. Boys aren't marrying. They aren't taking on the responsibilities of family. We've got the quintessential young man who's pushing 40, if that's still a young man, living in his parents' basement. One of my best friends, his daughter's doing great. His son's living in his basement. I asked him, I said, what's he do all day? He said he sleeps. He works, but he doesn't, if he's not working, he sleeps. So you've got this whole sense of just a very, very lost generation. And those are the young men that are opting out. They're the ones that are just leaving the game, saying the game's not worth the candle anymore. I don't understand the rules. I'm just going to stay in my parents' basement. I'm going to watch porn and play video games. But then there's the other side of the equation, which are the men that are acting out. I really honestly believe that a lot of these school shootings and random shootings and Antifa men and rioters and everything else go back to the frustration these men feel because they don't know what's going on, what their role in society should be. And it's long been known that so many of the young men that are joining street gangs in our inner cities are looking for masculine role models. So all these things are contributing to this overall masculinity crisis. And then finally, I would say, there was a war on masculinity. When Donald Trump won in 2016, I remember reading a Democratic pundit, who was actually very, very anti-Trump. But he said, one of the reasons Trump won, he said, there's a lot of people in this country are wondering how the term male became a accusation rather than a description.